Hi, I'm Brent from MY50 and welcome to Show Us Your Shed.
So what is Show Us Your Shed?
Show Us Your Shed is a little documentary that we wanted to put together, little 5-minute shots of workshops and garages around the country, around the world in fact, where we just showcase a little bit of everyone's collection. Doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small. I just know the guys are out there that are interested in seeing what's happening in other guys' sheds. So this is a great opportunity for everyone to get involved. Send us your content. We'd love to hear and see what's in your shed.
So when did the idea for Show Us Your Shed originate, and how long have you been doing mini motorcycle stuff?
Well, Show Us Your Shed actually started last year down in Christchurch. We have a big run there, a big run of small bikes. There's about 400 bikes that participate, and I've been lucky enough to make some good friends down in the Christchurch zone. So we visited a couple of those sheds down there while we were down for a run called Sid's Run. Subsequently, those are on our YouTube channel and people have really enjoyed them. And then the question we kept on getting is, when is the MY50 Show Us Your Shed coming? So Tommy and I got together and this is it, Show Us Your Shed MY50.
Can you tell us a little bit about this side of the shed?
Well, part of my collection is although it's about motorbikes, is I've collected rubbish the whole of my life, from my childhood, all the things I've enjoyed. So for example, this chopper up here, this is a 1970s odd chopper. That was the first bicycle I ever had. Also my first bicycle that I had a massive crash on. Then we got an E.T. Kuwahara. That was a limited edition E.T. bicycle that was used in the E.T. film back in the, I think it was the 80s, somewhere around there. They made a limited edition around the world, looked for years for that, and always loved BMX, so I had to have one of those. Part of my fascination in my collection in life is I've always been fascinated with things that are smaller than the real thing. So hence me being involved with small motorbikes under 100cc and specifically 50cc bikes. So these bikes, for example, it's a Yamaha YSR50 and an NSR50. These are the bikes they use to introduce young kids into GP racing. Normally they start around, I think about 8 or 10 years old, and with an 8-year-old kid that weighs 29 kilograms, this is pretty much a rocket. So as a youngster, I grew up with 2-stroke 50cc's. I started off on an RG50, which we'll get to a little bit later. But when I started collecting, I started with an RG50 and then realized, well, my mate had an RZ, my other mate had an AR, and so I decided to get the collection of all the bikes that we used to ride at school. So that's the Yamaha RZ50, part of the RZ500 range. That's an AR50, obviously comes in various colors. I restored these bikes probably about 10 years ago now. This is part of my South African collection that I brought over to New Zealand. MB5, a lot of guys from Europe will know this. These are very popular in the Netherlands as well. They were popular in South Africa. And these bikes as well, popular in South Africa and parts of Europe. Not so much in New Zealand, strangely, but I love them. This then is the TZR50, the original TZR50. When I was a kid, only the rich guys had a TZR50. The rest of us had to ride the starter bikes. But this was an absolute race bike for a little kid of 16 years old, so yeah. Then last on the line here is a little MBX. This is it came post after the MB. This is a liquid cooled bike after the air cooled MB5. And my good friend Gerald used to ride this bike with me when I was riding my RG. And it's a very special bike to me, specifically because it brings back all those memories of me and Gerald racing around the town on our little 50cc bikes. So yeah, a really special bike for me. The other fascination I've always had is with little monkey bikes. I remember begging my mom and dad for a monkey bike since I was 3 years old. And as part of the monkey bike family is obviously the Daxes. Now we restore bikes, I love restoring bikes, and this for example is a really original Honda Dax. But this is a bike you would have seen quite a lot on our posts and shows and what have you. It's a little custom Dax. It was on the way to the scrap heap. we decided to throw a 125 motor into it, put some new shocks, longer swing arm, and well, that's what we got here. Then my good friend Tommy also even designed, through his 3D printing that he does, a see-through plate so we can see when the clutch works. It's a really interesting and fun little sidekick for this custom bike. So yeah, man, we love restoring them, but we also love to customize them. So as I was saying earlier, since I was 3 years old, I always wanted a motorbike. So in this corner here is probably some of the most valuable bikes that I have, and not valuable in money, just valuable because they're precious to me. And the reason for that is, I'll take you through. This is an Italjet, a little 50cc Italjet. This is the bike I really wanted as a kid. Unfortunately, never got one. So here it is here to deal with my midlife crisis. This bike here is a little JR50 Suzuki, which I taught my young son Cade to ride when he was 3 or 4 years old, I can't remember. And this is a QR50, which I taught my daughter Gabby to ride when she was, I think, about 6 or 7. So yeah, those are very, very special bikes to me. Then this is my race bike, my bucket racer. It's a TZR50, full race kit, nothing else but what needs to run. This guy here is an RG50. This is the bike I had at school when I was 16 years old. I restored it about 10 years ago to the full spec of how it was, or how I remember it. But yeah, one of my really, really special bikes. This is what got me going in my motorcycle career. So as part of my collection, like I said, I've been collecting stuff from my childhood. We got things like little Smurfs here. These are drive-in speakers. I don't know if any of you remember drive-ins. We used to pull into the movies in your car and then listen to the sound on the speakers. This is real old school stuff. These are the vintage pumps that we used to use to pump up our air. And of course the 80s radios, beatboxes. I live in a really cool place called Nelson, New Zealand. And one of the really awesome parts of Nelson is that we have all these microbreweries. So this is arranged by Batch Brewing, and they've got all these cool cartoons and stuff. So really, come and visit us in Nelson and enjoy the beer here. And then this, of course, is my workbench where most of the stuff-ups come as I learn about how to put parts together and what have you. But further on, like I said earlier, I live now in Nelson, New Zealand. I immigrated a while back from South Africa. Some of our South African money at the top there. And then this here is a sign that I found in a warehouse in Johannesburg that's got all the old bus routes. And in fact, I used to go down and route number 56, wherever that must be, from Joburg to Gibbler Park. That was my daily ride when I was a kid. So yeah, this is where all the magic happens. Sometimes it's not so magic, but you guys that have your own sheds will know about that. Yeah, so I'm not much of a car guy, to be honest, although I do have an appreciation for cars. But what I really do like is collecting these old Tonka toys. So here's a little collection of some of the Tonka toys I've got, all from I think they're from the 60s and 70s or whatever. These are the kind of toys we played with as kids. So yeah, thoroughly enjoy these guys. So actually, I've been telling you about my whole shed, but this is really where I spend most of my time, on the couch. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and that's what I do in my little garage. More importantly, we'd like to see what you guys do in your garage. We're not creating perfection here by any means, we're creating fun. So if you've got a shed, or you've got 1 or 2 bikes, or you just love pottering around in your garage, send us your content. Get in touch with us on our website, www.my50.com. We'd love to hear from you guys, and we'd love to share your sheds with you too. Thanks for watching. And this, see, I'm precious about everything. Here's a love note from my beautiful wife, Michelle. People will think I'm a nerd for that.